Florida has been in the headlines for years as one of the top states in all of America that people are moving to. But the question is why? Is it the beaches? Is it the weather? We're here today to answer that question. Hey everyone, my name is Brett Schiller and I am joined today by my lovely wife McKenna here. We are your Tampa real estate professionals, but hey, beyond that, before we were here selling real estate, we were a lot like you, wondering where we wanted to build our family, where we wanted to build our home, where we wanted to build a future, and wondering if Tampa was actually the correct place to do that. Well, spoiler alert, we did choose Tampa. And we're here to tell you some of those reasons of why we chose Tampa. So there's a lot of different factors when it comes to making the decision of where you're going to move. We've got 3 little kids, so we're thinking about things like education. We're thinking about where they go to school, who they're surrounded by, community, what the communities offer. Some other things that we cared about is living in a nice house. We preferred newer homes, cities that built newer homes versus moving into some location where things are older and you're gonna have to put a lot of money into repairs. We like the idea of new construction. In addition to that, some of the things that we looked at is we kind of figured that we might be building our own business one day. And so things like taxes were important as you begin to scale your income, make more money, property tax, sales tax. How much money are you giving to the government? We wanted to minimize that amount and maximize the amount that we're keeping. And Florida had some pretty good incentives that way. So without further ado, we're gonna dive into our top 5 reasons that we chose to live in Tampa. Oh, and by the way, if this video provides any value to you, please be sure to hit that like and subscribe button and hit the bell. We create videos like this often. We've got new videos coming out weekly, if not more. And we want to make sure that you stay on the trending edge of what's happening here in Tampa. So just to give you a little bit of background on us and where we came from, we lived in some pretty cool places. We actually met in the state of Utah, both going to school there. And I lived in southern Utah, she lived in northern Utah. We both ended up living in northern Utah. I was born in Colorado. We started our career coming out of school working in the tech industry, and we lived in Austin, Texas, another place that's hitting the top charts for cool places to live. So all in all, I would say we've lived in some pretty awesome places and places that are drawing a lot of people, but we still chose Tampa. And one of the biggest reasons, and I'll have McKenna talk here, is McKenna grew up in Tampa Bay. Honestly, I never would have even considered living that far away from family, friends, and everything. But marrying a Floridian, I guess you could say she opened up my eyes to a broader world. So I'll have McKenna talk about a little bit about what she felt growing up in the city and some of the things that she experienced in her childhood.
Okay. So I was actually born in Canada, but my family moved to Florida when I was 6. And part of that move was because every time they'd come here to vacation from Calgary, they would never want to leave. The weather was beautiful. There was so many fun activities to do as a family. And so eventually they decided to move down here permanently. But growing up here, I always loved everything that we could do outside, loved our proximity to beaches. We went to Disney World a lot, lots of theme parks and activities for families. And as I started having kids of my own, we wanted to live in a place that had a lot of those outdoor activities for families and also year-round sports. I grew up dancing and I have 3 brothers and they all play sports. So it's a fabulous location if you're wanting to get into tennis or football or baseball. You can play all of these sports year-round, which is amazing.
So with McKenna's family being close, that was one of the big draws is we have kids, hey, we'd love to be close to family, but what are the other things? So our reason number 1 for moving to Tampa Bay is the opportunity of the city. Now there's quite a few different things that can be addressed in this topic, but for our family, it was we kind of wanted to build a business. We wanted a place that we could live a great lifestyle. We didn't want to go to the Northeast or California where real estate's super expensive. You feel like you're living in a box. And this is just personal opinion, by the way. No offense to anyone who lives in these areas, but we wanted more space. And we felt that what Tampa provided offered that. A little bit bigger houses, a little bit bigger lots, places that you can roam, walking trails, hiking trails, biking trails. It had a lot of those factors. And the other piece in here is around tax. So Florida does not have state income tax. So this is a big thing as you begin to scale your income, especially as a growing family. You work longer in your job or your career, your income's probably going to rise and you're going to be giving more money away in taxes. So living in a place that we call home and not paying state income tax was a big factor for us. One of the other things that we really like is, so coming from kind of our previous life in Austin, Texas, I worked for Dell Technologies. And one of the things that we notice is the tech industry brings in a lot of young people, a lot of bright minds, and a lot of extremely talented people. So we loved the vibe that Austin had of bringing in a ton of techie type people. Mm-hmm. Now, an interesting thing about Tampa is that Forbes, just in 2021, named Tampa the #1 emerging tech city in the United States. So Tampa, I wouldn't say it's quite on the same level as what we experienced in Austin or in Utah for the tech scene, but it's getting there. Mm-hmm. And there's a ton of tech jobs being created every single year. So this tech scene that is being created in Tampa is bringing in a lot of incredibly talented minds. And it's changing the city in a lot of ways. There's a ton of different developments going on. If you have a minute, just look at Water Street Tampa or Google Water Street Tampa. So guys like Bill Gates and Jeff Vinnick, the owner of the Tampa Bay Lightning, have invested over $3.5 billion into the downtown and creating more condos, places to eat, entertainment, and we like that. I mean, the fact that the downtown, the city is getting a lot of investment has a lot to say for the future and growth of the city. And being in an area that is growing and where there's a lot of investment, that means there's a lot of opportunity for the future. So that was our reason #1 of why we wanted to come to Tampa. So reason #2 is lifestyle. And the reason that this is our #2 reason is we found an awesome community in Tampa called Fishhawk. And it's been a total game changer for the lifestyle that we live. And I mean, I'll have McKenna talk about it because she's the one that kind of found it. And yeah, what did you see in Fishhawk?
So as a growing family, I loved kind of more of a master plan community where the schools were within the community, you had grocery shopping, you had doctor's offices, everything kind of had a central location, which as a mom, it's nice that I don't need to drive 30 or 45 minutes to take my kids to school or to go grocery shopping. So that's been really nice here in Fishhawk. We also love all of the amenities. So there's great pools, there's a skate park, there's miles and miles of biking and walking trails. So this kind of adds to the ability for our family to get outside and enjoy all of the wonderful things Florida has to offer. Also being in Fishhawk, we're very close, about 30 minutes away from downtown Tampa, as well as about 45 minutes from various beaches such as Clearwater and Sarasota. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of been a good central spot in that, where you're not right downtown in the hustle and bustle. We're a little bit more in the suburbs, but with highway access, we can get pretty much anywhere we need to very quickly.
And one of the things we're starting to realize is our kids are younger, they're just getting into schools and sports. There's a huge sports complex mm-hmm. in Fishhawk. So soccer, baseball, football, softball, tennis, like any sport you can imagine, they have a league set up and it takes maybe 5 minutes to get there. And there's other people that maybe travel 20, 25, half hour to get their kids to practice or to a game. So we love that everything's centrally located. But Fishhawk isn't alone in this. There's lots of different communities that offer a very similar vibe. This was just one that we found we loved and that we went after, and it's been a great move for our family. So with that, it'll take us to our reason number 3, entertainment. So what is there to do in the area? Well, there's a lot that can be said. Once again, I'll go back to kind of what I did growing up, because that influenced a lot of what I like to do now. In Utah, I did a lot of outdoor type stuff. We did camping, we spent a lot of time on AVs, we spent a lot of time in the snow. And so when we're thinking of moving to Florida, I'm like, what the heck am I gonna do in Florida? There's just flat and there's beaches. So how can I have fun? Well, we've ended up doing a lot of things. I mean, first of all, you have all of the resorts and the entertainment that's put on by big companies like Disney, Universal Studios. I think it takes us an hour without traffic, an hour and a half with traffic to get to Disney World and all of those resorts. So we bit the bullet, we have passes, we go there a lot, the kids love it. The other big factor is you do have beaches, which beaches is probably one of the largest draws to Tampa or the state of Florida, to get outside, get some sunshine, and just a cool place to hang out. But I needed some type of an outlet or something active to do, and beyond my wildest dreams, I found the sport of mountain biking. But actually, there's 3, 4, maybe 5 different trails that are really close. 2 that are just within 15 to 20 minutes of where I live. Coming from cool places and mountain biking in cool places like Montana, Bentonville, Arkansas, the self-proclaimed mountain biking capital, I've actually really enjoyed the mountain biking here. And you can even do camping. They have campsites. So there's still cool things to do. One of the things I have on my bucket list is I want to go kite surfing. And I haven't done it yet, but if any of you want to go kite surfing, give me a call and I'll go with you.
And enjoy a lot of kind of the downtown nightlife that you can find in Tampa too.
Now that is pretty cool. I mean, I've always wanted to cheer for a winning team, and most places I never cheered for winning teams. So having the opportunity to get behind a city that has winning teams, I mean, the Buccaneers won the Super Bowl just 2 years ago, had a good run last year, back at it again this year. Tampa Bay Lightning, Stanley Cup 2 years in a row. Tampa Bay Rays in the World Series. I mean, these teams are doing phenomenal things. So talk about a culture that gets behind their sports, and self-proclaimed, or the Tampa has kind of called ourselves Champa Bay just because of how many teams have been winning and how great the sports have been doing. So It really is a cool environment. You see the flags everywhere. Makes for easy conversations with neighbors to talk, hey, how'd the Lightning do? Yeah, good game last night, huh? So all in all, there are plenty of things that you can find to entertain, whether it's just you that's moving down here for retirement, or whether it's a family that's looking for things to do with kids. There's a lot of opportunities. So with that, we'll go to our reason number 4, cost of living. So Florida in general is pretty well known for having a reasonable cost of living, which is, I think, one of the reasons that has driven a lot of traffic from other states to Florida. If you look at specific locations like New Jersey, New York, California, definitely, Oregon, Washington, there's specifically real estate is expensive in a lot of those areas. And not saying that Florida real estate is cheap, especially through the pandemic. Our prices have gone a lot higher, but I think in relativity to a lot of locations, it is less expensive.
Yeah.
And even coming from Austin and Utah, we knew that Tampa was kind of in a similar line of cost of living, maybe even a little bit cheaper. And so we saw it as a place that we could grow our family and that we could have longevity. I mean, especially thinking about maybe the second generation, your kids grow up, and where are they going to live? Do we want them close to us? Yeah, I think we would prefer that they live close to us, and I think they'd have a good opportunity at that. Being in a place like Tampa, where prices have historically been below average in relativity to a lot of the United States. So there's plenty of websites out there that you can go check what the actual cost of living is in your city compared to another city. If you just Google cost of living in Tampa versus Chicago, you'll be able to find that information. And oftentimes it even has percentages of Tampa is 3% less than your city. But take it with a grain of salt. I mean, so we live like in a suburb of Tampa, and that's even a little bit less in cost than it is to live in Tampa proper. But in general, we've noticed differences in our groceries, our gas. I look at gas from other places and I'm astounded at the price of fuel. But Tampa hits hard as a great place to live for overall cost of living. So with that, what takes us to our reason number 5, the weather. So the weather in Florida, you've probably heard, I mean, it's the sunshine state. So we're gonna get hot. We're closer to the equator than majority of the United States. So summers can get warm, but in all honesty, summers are hot in most places. Like I grew up in Southern Utah. We lived in Texas, as we mentioned, and those summers were hot too. Mm-hmm. And when I think about it, it's like if I'm outside on a summer's day and it's hot, in relativity, how much more hot is it being in Florida? It's not that much different. Hot, kind of hot is hot. And when you're hot, you want to get out of it and get into some AC, and that's typically what we do. Is we either jump in a pool, jump in the ocean, or go in a house and where there's AC. But about 6 months out of the year, the weather is phenomenal.
Mm-hmm. Starting kind of right around October, the humidity starts to decrease. The mornings and evenings are cooler and the weather is just perfect. That's a lot of times when we spend the most time outside. When all the other states are having snow and bundled inside, that's when we get to get out and enjoy the wonderful weather here.
So we do love the aspect that we don't have to shovel snow in the winters. We don't have to come out to icy cars, and we can do a lot of playing outside year round. Mm-hmm. And especially with the kids, it's great because sometimes they just need to get outside and get energy out, and there's nothing that really stops them from doing that. So we do have a rainy season in Florida, and that usually hits in the summertime. So it'll start sometime around June, and then between August to early October is when it kind of fades away. But it's pretty predictable that almost every day it's gonna rain and it's gonna downpour. And it's like out of the blue, sunny skies, blue skies, and all of a sudden huge gray cloud comes in, dumps water, and blows away, and then it's sunny again. One thing that we have learned is never leave your house without an umbrella. Yes. In the event that you do get caught in one of these rainstorms, which has happened many times to us. Coming out, you go into a grocery store, beautiful skies, come out, downpouring rain, mm-hmm. and you're literally drenched by the time you get to your car. So always have an umbrella. But it's great because it keeps all of the landscape, the state, really green. Mm-hmm. It keeps the state very picturesque, and we love that about it. So hey, thanks so much for watching this video. We hope you learned a few things about Florida, and that's just kind of our story of why we chose to live in the area. We love it here, and I think anyone can love it here. There's a lot of great things that the city and surrounding areas have to offer. So we know one of the biggest challenges in moving to a new area is finding a home. That is one area that we can help with. If we can help or serve you in any way, if we can answer a question for you, then don't hesitate to reach out. That's what we're here for. Mm-hmm. We still look at the city with new eyes. We love to see the new places that are coming up. We definitely help a lot of families, and we look at a lot of areas that are building new construction, have beautiful new homes. And before I let you go, we're putting out new content weekly. So be sure and hit that like and subscribe button, and make sure and hit that bell too, because you'll get a notification each time we post a new video. We're bringing you the newest communities, newest locations, and awesome places to live. So if you are considering a move to the area, it's going to be extremely helpful for you to get that information. So with that, we look forward to seeing you next time. Last thing, we've been working on a relocation guide for a while now, and we finally got it finished. So if you're thinking about relocating to the area and wondering things about schools, good communities to live in, general fun things to do in the area, I'm going to put a link in the description below. Be sure you take a look at that. It's going to give you some great options and great ideas, and hopefully some good information about the city. Thanks so much for watching. See you on the next one.